Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I'm going to read something that's a little bit before what I read yesterday and talked about to just let you know that I'm not just saying some things just to say some things. That I'm not out here just making up some stuff, that I just want to make up some stuff that like I'm the one that said it. I'm the one that's saying you got it this and you got it that. It's not me. A mere simple human being on this planet that's telling you to do anything in reality. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. You can make happen whatever it is that you want to make happen. You need to listen to me to try to figure out where to go and what to do. It's a matter of you getting a better understanding of who God is and what He's all about for you to pay attention to really realize what it is that you should be pursuing on this planet. You shouldn't be looking to a human, another person, a pastor, preacher, any of these things. There's so many new terms out today. It's hard to even keep up with it. It's hard to keep up with how everyone is trying to change these different clans and these different groups and these different societies. That the more and more that we keep doing that, the more and more we're dividing up the book that doesn't need to be divided up anymore. That we're no longer just wanting to be. This is something that I think is probably the most powerful thing that I've come to realize on this planet. That I was always questioning and asking, why is there something that's like trying to keep us so divided about everything? Divided about race, divided about gender, divided about food, divided about football games, divided about every single thing on this planet. And it's a trickle to get you to be divided about everything, to get you divided about what I truly believe is the main thing, that whatever the powers be on this planet that want to try to destroy, rule, and take over, because it's that's the only way I can say it, is if it's devil or Satan. I prefer the word Satan, because I think that devils are something different than what Satan is. That there are different entities going on here, that Satan is, that's the best way of saying it, a supreme being compared to humans. A supreme being that's moving on this land, that's getting us to do stuff. And the devil is something that I still believe that, based on what I read, it's something that we ourselves put in ourselves because we want to go along with what the Satan is looking for us to do. That I believe that they are different entities, they're not the same. Then I say that, and it's very interesting because there's a huge push that's trying to divide us, and I'm sitting here dividing the enemies. And I think that that's the way that it is, because just based on my own personal experience, but just based on the stories that I hear in this Bible of how each is spoken about. Satan doesn't come in us. He can manipulate things out to make us want to go to. Where demons and devils are in us. They're in us because of the disobedience that we're doing, and the disobedience and the things that we're praying to, and the things that we're chanting to, and the things that we're trying so hard to think that they're going to be able to bring our relief instead of just praying to God. And then once you start praying to God, those demons are going to go away. And once you start praying to God, Satan is no longer going to be able to come into your bubble. He's going to have to get further and further and further and further out. But there's a big push that's dividing all these little things that I just truly, I felt this months and months and months ago, that it's the main division of the Bible, of Jesus, is they're trying to get us to be so on this, on that, and having different iterations of it, that we're fighting about who God is. We're fighting about who Jesus is. We're fighting about who you are. You're not a part of the book, so you're not the people. We're fighting about all these things as if it's something that we should be fighting about, as opposed to realizing that we all have the same desire in the end of the day. So why are we not getting together with that, instead of trying to fight with each other to say, no, I'm right and you're wrong, and you're wrong, and what you think is stupid, even though y'all both believe the same stuff. So it's very, very interesting, because that's why up front I said to pay attention to what the Bible is saying, not to what a human being is saying. Because a lot of human beings out here get stuck in their ways of, I want it to be the way that I want it to be, that you make and manipulate, and you're smooth in your talking, and you're praying to all the wrong things to give you that smooth in speech, to be able to use this book, the Bible, to be able to make your argument to say that that is what it is. And there's something that happens when you're not a person to read it yourself. When you're a person that's confused yourself, when you're a person that's living in agony and living in frustration and living in fear and living in just an absolute level of chaos, that you believe these people, because you're not trying to actually seek the realness. And it's not, say, your fault, my fault, anyone's fault. It's the powers can be of the division that's happening on this planet that I'm going to say is the Satan that is doing. And he's powerful. He's super powerful. But he's meaningless and worthless when you start to understand who God truly is. But when you don't understand who God truly is because you're listening to somebody that is feeding you some information that is actually steering you away from being able to represent and understand and know who God is, life's going to be hard for you. And it's going to be very, very hard for you. But I just know that there's a big separation, a big division, a big split to try to just destroy the Bible. Because for some reason, there's not such a huge push for anything else other than the Bible when you really look at a worldly sense of everything that's going on here. So there's something that must be powerful about it. Something that must be just real about it. Something that must be so telling about it. Because when I read it, I definitely have realized that it is nothing that I thought that it was before I did any reading myself. No research, just read it. A lot of people, I think, are out to confuse us because they're like showing you these Bible studies and these things, and they'll go to like the book of Genesis, first chapter to the 5th verse, and give you like an hour-long Bible study of this word is this, and this word means this, and this word goes with this, and this goes right here. And it makes you feel like you're stupid. And to me, I don't know why, but some of them, I think they're trying to help, but I don't think they're trying to help to get you to understand God. They're trying to help to just get something for themselves. And they're not actually helping you with the problems that you actually have and the problems that are going on with you. They're just helping you with being able to stay in your level of confusion and feeling like you can't do it and you're not going to make it and you're not going to be able to be able to have a good understanding and know who God is, because the book is all confusing. The book is hard to read. The book, this word means different words, and this word here, and you got to understand this word, and that's not at all what goes on in this Bible. Not at all what goes on in this Bible. And people are out here just making it seem as if it is so complicated, so complex, that you're just not going to be able to understand it without them. And they're the ones that are able to decode it, decipher it, and be able to give you the information. And that's a division that goes on to make you think that you're not smart enough. And then you got the ones that are reading it and going by it and living by it, and you're seeing like amazing things happen in their lives, and you're just confused. It's like, well, that person definitely doesn't talk about it, know about it, or do about it, but they're just living by the commands that God is looking for us to do. He's not coming out here trying to confuse more and more people. Because that's the last thing that I would ever want to be able to do, is confuse somebody. Because the main thing that I'm going to say is, the main thing that only just matters is living by the commands. And understanding that Jesus came here. And Jesus came here for sin. But at the same time, if you really dig deep into the Old Testament with the Old Covenant, we also had ways of being able to get rid of our sin. But there's a difference. There's a difference in the fact that only certain people were able to communicate with God and be able to have that intimate relationship. But after Jesus, we all are able to have that. And this book is written in a way that makes it seem like, because if you don't really go through the whole thing, because I've been getting a lot of people that I know are confused with the words that you say and the videos I see and the stuff that's going on, because you're like, everyone's stuck on the whole, looking at just the Israelites in this book and saying, I'm one of them. Or I'm going to sit here and say that I'm not one of them. I am not one of the people from that. But I have to change that, because if I believe in Jesus Christ, then I am part of the seed of Abraham. So then in reality, I would say that I am, regardless of what color I am, of where I was, how I grew up, where I was from, any of that. None of that matters to God. It matters to human beings. And that's more of a level of separation, where they're going to say to you that only the Israelites are black people and colored people. And I would sit there and say, then where does that make me fall? Because I'm a mixture of two. So where do I go with that? And I can't just give up part of my heritage to just only go to that. I have to understand that I have both, and they're both molded into something. So it's not a matter of being a specific color that you're able to be a chosen one of God. That's lies, 100%. That's manipulation, 100%. That's deceitful. That's trying to put more separation in, and that's trying to make God seem as if he's not in understanding of knowing what he created. And I hate using this word, but that you're making God seem like he's stupid by saying that I'm this color and I'm a part of that book, and if you're not, then you can't understand it, you can't believe it. I'm not this color. The only color I am today is you can see that I'm tan, but I am exceptionally tan because I live in Texas and I stay outside all day. But the rest of my body is 100% white. Like I put myself next to myself and you wouldn't, I don't have color. And it's a very interesting thing that we're out here worrying about what our color is as opposed to what our hearts are and what our character is all about. We're so focused on, I'm this color, so I'm chosen, I'm part of that Bible, and you think that like that's a free ticket or something. And you are 100% wrong with that. 100% wrong. Because if you really have read this book, you really would know that what's been going on with the Israelites is God having to suppress them, push them, oppress them, destroy them, murder them, scatter them over and over and over again because they're just extremely disobedient. All the way through, extreme disobedience. Extreme disobedience to the point that, yes, God just killed people on sight, on scene, just bam, dead, instant, gone. And that's where you're coming from. And if you're only thinking that that's only just one color of a people, you're confused. Where that's every person. Because it's very interesting that I've done I guess my own science project to see in life of my own self with just breeding my chickens. They all were the same color when they started. They're all the same color. This is something that I can show and prove to anybody. They're all the same color. They're called lavender. So they're blue, but they kind of have this purple hint to them. They're all that color. And their offspring, there's over 200 of them in there. I don't even know how many. I'll get a count one day. But their offspring, say like 5, maybe 10% of them are the same color, that same lavender, because that's the color I wanted. That's the color I'm breeding for to continue to keep moving on. But all the rest, there are pure black ones. There are pure white ones. There are brown ones. There are a mixture of white and black, black and white, brown and gray, brown and black. I mean, there's just every single color variation possible. Every single one. None of them are nowhere near. There's some that are similar, where it's like the same, but there's none that's the same. They're all completely different and unique. So that's something that I saw right there, realizing like the concept of Adam and Eve, and then realizing the concept of Noah and his sons and all their wives. That you can mix 6, 7, 8 together, and then you're going to get a multitude of all different stuff coming out. All different things coming out. Everything's going to be completely different. It's not all going to be the same. It's not going to, you're just going to have this and it's just going to be the same over and over and over again. Where that's where I'm going to say we have more of today because we've already branched off. So when you put two extremely dark people, two dark colored people together, you're going to get dark colored child. But in the beginning, it didn't work that way. You would have two completely dark colored people, and then you would have a very, very light colored baby. And sometimes a very, 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 very light colored baby. And all that was going on. And then when you had a very, very light colored baby mixed into you got ambushed and taken over by people, they came in and started intermingling. It just would get lighter and lighter. And then there would be that, say, separation of what the colors are. It's something that is totally natural and it's real. And it's something that is not just created. And that's something that is very, very interesting because if you're thinking that because I'm this color, I have superiority over somebody who is that color, you are like beyond childlike in your thinking, beyond childlike. You need I don't even think that education is really going to help with that situation, but we need to figure out something to be able to let you know that every single person out here is the same. And every single person out here came from the same. And every single person out here has the capability of being able to do the same. But I will say there is one thing about that I got into an interesting conversation with somebody about this. And they don't want to agree with me about it, but I hear what you're saying. But I also have to be realistic and understanding of this planet. That there's some people that are capable of doing more than another person based on the situation that goes down. Based on if you're the son of the Pharaoh that's got all the information and has got all the knowledge, has been able to go to all the schools, been able to do all the things, your kids, this is the way I can put it with dogs. My border collie is going to be able to work the animals. This Johnny and this May and that Shadow cannot do it. They can't do it. Can they, in a sense? Yes, but they can't do it because their entire lineage was created to do something. So he has a fast track at doing that. But at the same time, because he has a fast track at that, doesn't mean that he doesn't have a problem with other things. Where for these two, for instance, my shadow, he has zero care to chase things and go and get it. Oreo can't do that. My border collie can't do that. He has no ways of being able to do that. He's go, go, go. Shadow is like relax, 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 hang out, hang out, hang out. So he's gonna stumble in that, but he's gonna excel in something else. And I think that that's where we run into a problem as a people today, because we're always like looking at what someone else is doing, thinking, I want to do that. But your background is saying that you didn't have the skills being taught to you over and over and over. For instance, if you're like, I want to be a doctor, and no one in your entire family has ever been passed in school at all, zero, period, zero. So when you're getting into doing some math problems, because a lot of people that are educated, they start to teach your babies right away. This is 2 plus 2, 4 plus 4. You're already doing that as a baby, but you never get that. And all of a sudden you're 35 years old and you think that I'm going to go to school and be able to do that. You're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. You're going to struggle a lot. Can you do it? Heck yeah. But is it going to just come to you and just come to you? No, you're going to struggle. And that's where some things I'm going to say go down with how the Bible works. There's some people that have more information about knowing who God is. It doesn't mean that they know him more or with him more or have better grace with him more or anything more with him. It just means that you have more of a understanding up front. But when it comes to other things, you're lacking. You're not able to keep up. And then there's someone else that can come in that is trying to gain and gain and gain, and then they're going to be able to have that information as well. So there's some people that are more spiritual at birth already compared to somebody else. But it doesn't mean that you both aren't able to reach that same peak by the end. Just one person has to work a little bit harder than the next person. One person has to figure out how to do some things that they've never done before. Especially in the days of the Old Testament, if you've never sacrificed animals or built altars and built these temples and things, you're going to be very, very confused. It's going to be very challenging for you because you've never done such a thing. Whereas someone who's already been in that and doing that, that's everyday thing. That's just normal. That's just whatever. So there's always stuff like that going on. But there's never a situation that someone can't do if they don't try to put in themselves to try to do. And that's where we all have our understanding of our purpose of doing what it is that we need to do. And that purpose is to live by the commands of God, and then God's going to fulfill you with what it is that you should be pursuing. Instead of pursuing something that you think that you want to do and you should be doing. Do what God is looking for you to do, and you're going to excel exponentially at it. You're going to be the best of the best. You're going to be the greatest because the information is already in you. You don't even have to figure out too much about it, learn about it. It's already in you. That's something that I could say about like working with dogs. The information is already in me. I know how to do this. I didn't have to go to no school or learn no nothing or do no courses or study no nothing. No, I know this. And I was pursuing God over and over and over to where should I go? What should I do? Because every other thing I was doing was so hard. The schools that I was going to, I was trying to go to nursing school for a little bit. I was like, mind blown. This is way over my head. I got into these biology classes and I'm just like, this is not for me. Could I have done it? I could have probably pushed through it, but I would have just hated life every day doing that type of stuff, knowing that I had to fight so hard to get it, as opposed to doing what's already natural inside of me to do. And that's something that I think a lot of us are getting challenged with on this planet, with doing things that we shouldn't be doing because it's not in your history of doing. And start doing things that is more natural and more comfortable to you. Doing things that is more, that's the best way of saying it, easy for you. Instead of trying to go to the things that you think are cool looking. That we all are on an equal playing field here with certain things, that we can all be able to have the same in the end. It's a matter of pursuing what it is that you're good at. That if you want that multi-million-dollar mansion and all the cars and all of this, you can get that being whatever it is that you do on this planet that you want, that you're good at. That cutting grass. You could do that by that. You can have all of that by just cutting some grass. By figuring out how to make trees grow better. I mean, you could do that even faster with that. That's a very, very specialized skill if you just understand how to be able to make that work. By working with anything and everything on this planet. By being able to study the sun even better, to figure out more about it. You can have the mansions on mansions by doing that. By being that person that's just so dedicated and wanting to stare at that sun and figure out more about it. There's everything on this planet to be able to get you to that high level that you want. But it's a matter of doing the thing that is inside of you to do. And that comes by listening and paying attention and living by the commands that God has given us to live by. 10 Commandments is right up front, the main only thing that we need to pay attention to. That each time I keep saying that, I keep having to back check myself and go to the New Testament to hear Jesus, hear Paul, hear someone say it again and again and again. And every day I can easily do that. I could just flip open to the New Testament and find a place really fast that someone is saying, follow the laws, follow the commands, follow that, stay by that. That is the way to life. That is the way to live. That and being disobedient to that is the way to death. It just constantly says that over and over again. It's something that is the only thing that we pay attention to, and that's how and it's not my opinion, but it's my understanding of knowing that when you're living by that, that's how you're going to be able to have the skills to be able to do what you do. Because when in the beginning with Moses in the wilderness, not many people had many skills other than the skill that they were doing for Pharaoh, which was building blocks and building blocks. That's all they were doing, working with stone. They weren't making curtains and making golden rings and making all these things to be able to build these temples. So when God started telling them, explaining to them how to be able to build the ark and how to be able to build everything, he then put the knowledge into people to be able to do such a thing. He put the knowledge into the perfume people to just, this is how you do the perfumes. He put the knowledge of the spices. This is how you do the spices. So God is able to bring and download and put the knowledge in you to do what it is that you do. And we all already have that inside of us. And that's what we should be working upon and working from. Not working from a sense of just desire that's in your flesh to want that. That's what's dividing us. That's what's separating us. That's what's keeping us further and further away from understanding how each of us are actually out here to be able to help each other. Because you're going to look at someone and say, I want that, why can't I have that? And a lot of that goes on in this Bible and with what's going on with people out here today. And what's going on in the Bible day. People are fighting. People are bickering. I heard a talk, was it yesterday? Yeah, last night. Some people talking about, I'm a real black person. I'm in Birmingham. I'm in Mississippi, and we real here. All the rest of y'all are not real. That are in Chicago, that are in Memphis, that are in New York. Y'all fake. And it's interesting that we all is from the same spot. I don't care what color you are with that. But they stuck on just black people, and they started fighting instead of realizing the main topic that they were discussing. But the fact that we feel like there's somebody that's trying to oppress us and trying to keep us down. And we don't want that, and we're trying to fight back at that. But yet, you get sidetracked from that message of what you actually want to pursue to just start fighting and bickering with each other. And that's what we're doing all day out here. We're just fighting and bickering with each other. We're fighting and bickering so much that we don't get anything done, but just killing each other even more and more. And trying to destroy each other even more and more. Because you have it in you that you think that you the smartest and you the one. And in reality, no one on this planet is. Only God is the one. God is that's it. And there's just a division that's going on that is just maddening. But it's something that I want to read here in the book of Ezekiel, in the 18th chapter. And I'm going to read this whole thing because it's something that is fascinating. Because it's a matter of realizing what it is that we're doing out here and realizing that you need to figure out what you need to figure out for your life. And stop just like going into something that I just know is easy that a lot of people get stuck in are like cults and things like that. That I believe that more and more of that is going on. That back in the days we put the assumption that cults are a specific color of people only go into that. That no one else does that. And I'm going to say that that's all lies. And that's all deceit and that's manipulation. That's false. That's something that a lot of us should pay better attention to what it is that we're doing. Because a lot of times, all the time, if we're not doing what we need to do and we're following somebody that is leading us astray, that is giving us their desires, their wants, anything about them, and not going by what the Bible is actually telling you to talk about and being able to speak about, you your own self are going to be guilty in sense with that. You are going to fall with that person that's falling because you yourself should know where it is that you should go and what it is that you should do. You yourself should know that I need to get away from that because this isn't right. This isn't because I know for a fact that God is going to start pulling you, because I know that with my own self that when I would be listening to some people and this, you gonna get the house, you gonna get the car, God was pulling me. He was like, no, get away from that. No, get away from that. And sometimes he would just make the videos disappear. He's like, no, stay the heck away from that. Don't even think about going that direction. That is not the right direction. That's why for me, something that I would say even right now, if I don't show back up, then I'm not speaking what I need to be speaking. But if I show back up, I know I'm speaking what I'm supposed to be speaking. Because that's the power of what I know that God is all about. But right here, I want to read this because this is something that each of us have to pay very, very close attention to. And so this is Ezekiel 18 in the first verse. I'm going to read pretty much the whole dang on chapter, best I can. And say thank you for allowing me to be able to read such a thing. Sitting in this direct sunlight. Man, it's kind of warm out here right now, but we're going to get through this. The word of the Lord came on me. What do you people mean by quoting this proverb about the land of Israel? The parents eat sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. As I surely live, declares the sovereign Lord, you will no longer quote this proverb in Israel. For everyone belongs to me, the parent as well as the child. Both alike belong to me. The one who sins is the one who will die. Get down. Suppose there is a righteous man who does what is just and right. He does not eat at the mountain shrines or look to the idols of Israel. He does not defile his neighbor's wife or have sexual relations with a woman during her period. He does not oppress anyone. He returns what he took in pledge for a loan. He does not commit robbery, but he gives food to the hungry and provides clothing for the naked. He does not lend to them at interest or take profit from them. He withholds his hand from doing wrong. The judge judges fairly between two parties. He follows my decrees and faithfully keeps my laws. The man is righteous. He will surely live, declares the sovereign Lord. Suppose he has a violent son who sheds blood or does any of these other things, though his father has done none of them. He eats at the mountain shrines. He defiles his neighbor's wife. He oppresses the poor and needy. He commits robbery. He does not return what he took in pledge. He looks to the idols. He does detestable things. He lends at interest and takes a profit. Will such a man live? He will not, because he has done all of these detestable things. He is to be put to death. His blood will be on his own head. But suppose his son has a son who sees all the sins his father commits, and though he sees them, he does not do such things. He does not eat at the mountain shrines or look at the idols of Israel. He does not defile his neighbor's wife. He does not oppress anyone or require a pledge for a loan. He does not commit robbery, but he gives food to the hungry and provides clothing to the naked. He withholds his hand from mistreating the poor and takes no interest or profit from them. He keeps my laws and follows my decrees. He will not die for his father's sins. He will surely live, but his father will die for his own sins because he practiced extortion, robbed his brother, and did what was wrong among his people. Yet you ask, why does the son not share the guilt of his father, since the son has done what is just and right and has been careful to keep all of my decrees? He will surely live. The one who sins is the one who will die. The child will not share the guilt of the parents, nor the parent shall share the guilt of the child. The righteousness of the righteous will be credited to them, and the wickedness of the wicked will be charged to them. But if a wicked person turns away from all the sins they have committed and keeps all my decrees and does what is just and right, that person will surely live. They will not die. None of the offenses they have committed will be remembered against them. Because the righteous things they have done, they will live. Do I take pleasure in death of the wicked, declares the sovereign Lord? Rather, I am not pleased when they turn from their ways and live. But if a righteous person turns from their righteousness and commits sin and does the same detestable things of the wicked person does, will they live? None of the righteous things that person has done will be remembered, because the unfaithfulness they are guilty of, and because of the sins they have committed, they will die. Yet you say, the way of the Lord is not just. Hear you Israelites, is my way unjust? Is it not your ways that you are unjust? If a righteous person turns from their righteousness and commits sins, they will die for it. Because of the sin they have committed, they will die. But if a wicked person turns away from the wickedness they have committed and does what is just and right, they will save their lives, because they consider all offenses that they have committed and turned away from them. That person will surely live. They will not die. Yet the Israelites say, the way of the Lord is not just. Are my ways unjust, people of Israel? It is not your ways that are unjust. Therefore, you Israelites, I will judge each of you according to your own ways, declares the sovereign Lord. Repent, turn away from all your offenses, then sin will not be your downfall. Rid yourselves of all offenses you have committed, and get a new heart and a new spirit. Why will you die, people of Israel? For I take no pleasure in the death of anyone, declares the sovereign Lord. Repent and live. So a lot of this is speaking on the sense of father to son, so father to son, son to grandfather and father. But in reality, it comes down to the concept of us with anybody else that were around and that were watching, that were following, that were going by. If you're with someone and you see someone who's doing wicked things that shouldn't be happening, just slandering, slandering. I see you, Brownie. Having fits of rage, jealousy, doing all of that, and you follow that and stay with that, you are just as wicked as that person, and you surely will die for your sins. But if you see that they're doing that and you get away from it and you start living a righteous life, you will live for getting away from those sins. If you have been committing and doing just horrible things in this life and just being ruthless and going against all the commands, if you change and go live into a righteous life and start paying attention to his decrees, you will surely live on this planet. And if you want to just continue to keep on doing what you're doing, you go from doing all, living by it. So that's something that is the fear of God that starts to get in you in a little bit. That if you start understanding his laws and his commands, and you start living by it, and you do it your entire life, and then the day before you die, you decide to I'm not doing this no more. That day you surely will die. So it's a matter of us doing what we need to do and taking care of ourselves and having the information ourselves to be able to make sure that we're going to be able to save ourselves and be able to live. Because there's something that is just very, very, very interesting is when you just come down to that's a good way of saying it, the herd mind mentality, that you see someone do that and you're I'm going to go running, I'm going to go do that. You see someone over there, I'm just going to run over there, I'm going to go do that. But you need to make sure when it comes to having a good understanding of knowing who God is. And if you see someone in a sowing group, yeah, go do that. But if you see a group getting together trying to communicate and talk about who God is and what God is all about and what God is, his representation is on this planet, you need to make very, very sure exactly that you're following the correct people, because the wrong people are going to set you up for absolute failure, that you can't say in the end, well, I didn't know. No, it's up to us to be able to make that decision of understanding that, yes, we do all know, because the information is inside of us. And it's very interesting because right here, it comes down to the concept of I still have a lot of figuring out to do in reality with a lot of the information in this book, because some things are said to me that are misleading. Because I'm in the Old Testament before Jesus came, and God is speaking, and he's saying that if you start following my decrees, you start living a righteous life, that all your sins will be forgiven. It's very interesting because he says that before Jesus, and a lot of people say that is the only reason that Jesus came here, to be able to forgive us of our sins. But in reality, before Jesus, God was saying to us that he would forgive us if we followed his laws and we followed his decrees. So it's something that has always been there. And it's always been there in a way for us to always be able to know how, Oriole, get down. You go for like 20 minutes and you just got to pop up and move. I feel you. Something that's how powerful God is and why God has been able to do what he does, because he gives us a chance to be able to get away from the wickedness that we're doing. He doesn't just kill you off and run you off and oppress you right away. He's gonna allow you to be able to come back and do what is right. And he's going to keep on putting things in you in reality to get you to be right, to get back on track, to go into the right direction. And that's something that I think is an absolutely wonderful thing. And I think it's an absolutely wonderful thing, especially when you're living by his commands and you're doing what you need to do, knowing that he's going to forgive everything that's happened before. He's going to forget about everything that's happened before. He's not going to care about anything that you've done before, because he's like, oh, you're good to go now. Let's just stay on this and let's keep moving forward. Now you're on the mission that I'm looking for. And that's all he's looking for from us. I'm telling you, that's all he keeps saying over and over in this book. It's all that God keeps telling us, to just pay attention to my decrees, pay attention to my commands, pay attention to my laws, and that's it. That's it. You don't need to do any dang on thing else. That's it. That's all you got to do. He just keeps saying that same thing over and over again. And once you're on that, he's like, okay, you're good to go, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's keep pushing that forward. And what is it you want now? And that's how that works, because you're going to start to get the understanding of what exactly you should be doing and the route that you should be taking, instead of doing the things that the world is trying to tell you to do. Many of the people have told me, Mark, this is what you should be doing in life. And none of that in reality is anything that I'm doing today. None of it, zero. And none of that was actually bringing me any sort of success in reality. All of it was just frustrating and irritating and just aggravating. Where when I do more of what it is that I know that I should be doing and want to do and desire to do, I'm like, man, this is actually pretty interesting. Other days that there's going to be a little bit of frustration that happens because things are just not right in this. Yeah, but also I'm a human being. I'm not just going to see something just tragic happen and just like, oh, it's okay, it's all right. No, you're going to look at that like, wow, we got to do something here. That's always going to happen. But the main thing is the overall goal of when I go to sleep, I'm like, man, this is nice. This is satisfying. This is really, really, really cool. Like, I really, really enjoy this. And that's what God brings to us. He brings us that peace of being able to do something that is just really, really cool and really, really exciting, and getting away from the destructive things that are out there. And that's something that is getting just savage today with just division, because we're getting divided because we're thinking that I can't hear from God, I can't understand God, I don't know God, I'll never be able to get to God because I'm not a part of that group, I'm not a part of that camp, I'm not a part of that clan, I'm not a part of those Israelites that are talked about in this book. Even though Jesus says, I'm here for everybody. Even though even in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Daniel, I'm here for everybody. I'm here for all the peoples. I'm here to make sure that everyone's taken care of. And these people that got scattered out, and then God will bring in prophets, and the people scattered out like going to Babylon, going to Nebuchadnezzar. He would bring, that's where Daniel was. Daniel came in the Nebuchadnezzar. He's speaking to them to try to help them, guide them, to show them the way to get to God. If God is only looking for only a specific group, I'm telling you, you're sadly mistaken. You have not read this Bible at all. You're just going by what someone else is saying. You're not getting the full picture of anything that's happening here. You're getting a snippet of what someone is trying to force fed and put into you. That Daniel's going to Nebuchadnezzar to get Nebuchadnezzar to understand who God and what God is all about. He's got these weird dreams going on, so he's able to interpret these dreams and say, hey man, this is what God is saying to you. What you going to do? And then of Nebuchadnezzar being Nebuchadnezzar, he just says, I'm going to do what I got to do because I'm the king, I'm the ruler, I can do whatever the heck I want to do. That God ain't going to be able to do nothing to me. And then what happens in the end anyways? God does something to him, and he's like, oh, okay, that was real, that was serious. I probably should have paid a little bit more attention to that. And it's like, yeah, you definitely should have, because it's definitely real, and it's definitely something that of substantial value on this planet. And God is all of it, and he could do as he pleases with it. But he's not only going to one group to say, this is with me. No, he goes to everybody, everything, everywhere. And please, if you don't understand that, believe that, know that, read the book for yourself. And if you need more and more Bible verses, just leave a message to me, and I will give you every single Bible verse possible to let you know that there's no special people to God on this planet. Everyone is special to God. There's no special group that's more in tune with God. No, everyone's in tune with God. And that's something that we should all really, really understand, especially today, because for whatever reason today, things are getting confusing. And they're getting confusing because I just have it in me of knowing and realizing that there's it's the enemy of the world that is trying its best to, if it can't divide us with this, then it's going to divide us with the Bible. And once it starts dividing us with the Bible, then there's going to be bloodshed from the Bible, the same way that there's bloodshed in other books on this planet, just to keep people in absolute confusion, not knowing where to go, what to do, how to take care of yourself, and what you're actually supposed to be doing out here. No, we're not out here to fight and conquer anymore. That those fight and conquerings are done. The way that, because that was at Solomon. He was the last one. That now we're here and we're doing what we're doing. We're not to take over a clan. We're not to take over a group. We're not to take over a country. We're not to take over and oppress a people. No, God is going to do that to you, but you're not going to do that to anybody else. And it's not for you to just up front and I don't like white people, so I'm going to just destroy them all. No, you are all wrong. Those are all God's people, God's children. The same way that every single color and every single thing out here is all God's everything. And no one is better and no one is worse. We are all equal when it comes to that. That's something that is an amazing thing. Because when I read this book and understand and just look at myself and think about my own history and my own life, it puts me in a very sticky situation. Because something interesting that my sister said to me, that I get that, where it's like, if the KKK were to come around, they're going to lynch you because you look black. But at the end, in reality, though, I'm not all that. I'm all of a mixture of two completely different sides in reality, and two completely different sides that have gotten together. And according to this Bible, in the stories that are written about the Israelites and intermingling with people, that they had to put them to death and get rid of them, and that wasn't allowed. So it's something that is I'm going to say challenging if we were still living like the Old Testament back in the days before that, that, that I wouldn't be here, and my parents wouldn't be here, and I could never be a part of a group that says that you can't be a part of our group if you're this color, because that would mean that my whole family couldn't come, and that to me does not sound like a God that created all of this. That sounds like a human being that's trying to create rules to try to make themselves, I don't know, superior, feel better. I don't know what they even put in there that you have in your ego, that is just, you think that you're right, that you got to try to force everyone to be on board with you to the point of enslaving them, instead of just giving them the information to let them know what's real. Because when we all understand the real information, that's when you are free. You're no longer going to get stuck by listening to these people. You're no longer going to get stuck by paying attention to just someone saying that if you're not this, you're not part of the group. Like, that's so silly. That's so silly. And with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for an interesting day, an interesting topic that I've been researching and studying upon, and an interesting thing to keep on working upon with trying to keep on getting more information, and realizing that God is huge. And I think that a lot of us as humans, we get stuck in our brain on thinking that he's so small, like he's only for this, and not realizing like he's created all of this. He's made all of this. Hey, Oreo, I told you, you 20-minute Oreo. That's gonna be your nickname. Yeah, get down. He created all of this. He communicates with everybody. He's on everybody's side. And it's so weird to me that someone would think that God is only for just a few people out of all the people. And he's only there to help a few people. But you got to think for a second that this book is really small in comparison to life. That the book that would need to be required to be able to have the information from everyone, the book would be from the ground to the heavens. It would be an unlimited book that no one would ever be able to understand. But God had to do some things so that we could be able to understand them. And a lot of times we're getting stuck in our egos and our smallness of thinking, outside of thinking like how large and vast this is. That we're getting stuck in our smallest of thinking of that God is just little. And I'm telling you, God is huge. He's absolutely huge. He's created more items that are around right here for me. More items in the background of this camera you can see than human beings on this planet. There's more stuff right here. There's probably like 10 times more more stuff, more living creatures, more inanimate things, more everything right here than there are of human beings in this entire world. That, I don't know, when I just look at stuff like this, I'm just blown away at how large God is. And he's not here to just take care of just this tree. No, he's doing everything out here, everything, and all at the same time. That's amazing, and that's just absolutely incredible to me. And I would want more people to be able to see the massiveness that's going on here. And get out of just your small little mind and your small little your neighborhood even. Like, there's way more than that going on out here. And I want more and more people to just really realize that, understand that, know that, and trust that God is going to lead you to the correct information the way that he's leading me to the correct information. And it's just absolutely fantastic. Thank you.